Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Wampaslayer. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, and more. That's audibletrial.com/Wampaslayer. Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Wampaslayer Podcast. We are back after a 2-week hiatus, and it wasn't even a vacation.
One day was.
Yeah, one day was a vacation. One day was a birthday. But yeah, we're back after 2 weeks. My name is Kris.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Nate.
And that's it. That's all we got today. And it's going to be a good day because there's not a whole lot to talk about. Or maybe that's a bad day.
It's been a good day just in general.
Yeah?
We had a pretty good day.
I still got my wristband.
You know, we're celebrating a lot of birthdays in the summer. You know, Jason's was 2 weeks ago, as was Mike Cush's. Evan just turned 30. Happy birthday, Evan. And Dave's wife's birthday is coming up. Yep. And then 2 days later, it's my birthday.
Yeah.
I think
busy.
Yeah, it's busy in the summer. Having said that, let's get into some trending topics. We're gonna start off. HBO has announced that they will have a Watchmen TV show produced by Damon Lindelof. They haven't said if it's going to be a full show or if it's going to be just a miniseries, because I mean it is a relatively short comic book, so there's not a lot of source material.
Yeah.
But as Starz has pointed out, or proven really, that American Gods, which is a real short book, is now a full series, and they spread out 50 pages over a whole season.
Which is cool because, I mean, that's the biggest argument by nerds who love books and watch them transform it onto screen, is that they have to cut so much out just because it's not practical to do a full book as a single movie. So to be able to take a book and actually do everything that happens in the book on screen is kind of cool.
Yeah, before we started, I did a little sigh about Damon Lindelof, as we all love from Lost, even though he lied to us.
What do you mean he lied?
He told me
personally.
Yeah, well, I was at AMC Livonia for the live interview for them for the last 4 episodes. They did a simulcast thing, and they asked him a bunch of questions. He said, are we going to get resolutions for this stuff? And he said yes to every single one of them, and every single one of them was not resolved.
But that was 4 episodes?
I think it was either the last season or the last half of the season. It might have been after the midwinter break kind of thing. But it was thing. And then I wasn't a huge, I mean, World War Z was okay. Tomorrowland wasn't great. Star Trek Into Darkness, I love it, but it wasn't.
Wait, he did Star Trek Into Darkness?
Yeah. With Alex Kurtzman. And so he's been hit or miss. The Leftovers, though, I've heard is very good. And that is a HBO show right now that he's running. So
I watched the first few episodes.
Yeah.
A friend of mine is really into it, so she made me watch the first few episodes. And it's off. I mean, the start of it was really good.
Yeah. And HBO hasn't shown us anything that we've hated anyways, so I would have confidence in it.
No, yeah.
Do you know who
their track record is Netflix-esque?
Yeah.
Right.
Has there been any talk about who's directing or anything?
No, it's very preliminary. But
okay.
Damon Lindelof is.
We're assuming it's gonna have nothing to do with the movie. It's just gonna be a total.
It's gonna be its
separate entity.
Its own thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, the movie was almost a shot-by-shot recreation of the graphic novel.
Yeah.
You know, when the movie came out, what?
What, the movie?
Huh?
If you look back through it, it's a visually stunning thing, and then it was kind of Zack Snyder spent way more time on the visual stunning part than on making good performances. Even though great actors in that movie.
Right. Yeah, and just falls flat. But I was gonna say that's a movie that when it came out, people were upset about it because they changed the ending to make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously things have to adapt properly, but
I think that it's actually grown on people.
Yeah,
as the years go by.
Yeah, I think people, because there's always that thing, and if we talk about what we're going to talk about later, we will. But there's always the expectations game, and if you lose the expectations game, you're going to be upset about the movie. But once it's out, and once more things by that actor, directors, whatever are out, you go back and look at it and go, oh, okay, that was actually really cool. It's just like the Killing Joke. People have a problem with it for the same reason of the Killing Joke was a shot by shot recreation, and it kind of loses something in that. You're not reading.
Well, people had a problem with the first half, which was not in the book.
Yeah.
The Barbara Gordon stuff.
Well, yeah, that was just nonsense.
So a couple weeks ago, we announced that Sense8 was canceled by Netflix, which was a huge issue because the second season ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, and I had just started the second season when you told me that, and it really killed my mojo. I loved the show, but then I was like, I want to watch more of it, but do I really want to get this involved in season 2 when I know that I'm going to be left disappointed? So I was very saddened.
Yes, but there will be a Sense8 movie to wrap everything up in a pretty little bow.
Yeah.
2 hours.
Turn that frown upside down.
2 hour.
I think it's a 2-hour special.
Yes, which they've already done a 2-hour special, the Christmas episode, which was a make good from I think it was a 1.5 years of delay.
Yeah.
But we will get closure on Sense8. This week, last week, marks the 1-year anniversary of Pokemon Go.
Yay.
And all you can do is get a Ash Hat Pikachu.
Or get a discounted box of goodies, which we figured out if you were to buy all of that stuff independently, you save 80 coins by buying their special box, and you get 20 free Ultra Balls, which is something you can't buy in the store. Which is, I get is a discount, but to be honest, I have no need for max revives. They give out revives in raids like they're nothing, so why do I need max ones? And I don't really need Ultra Balls because you get those. So I would rather spend 1,100 coins, get the raid passes and the incubators, which is stuff I actually use, and then have an extra 100 coins because 1,200 coins is what the box costs.
Yes.
And an Ash Hat Pikachu.
Huh?
And an Ash Hat.
Now, those actually have been all over the place. I've caught probably a dozen of them. I actually caught 2 on the way home from Level Up today. So, yeah, that's cool. And they did say that there's a good chance that because this goes until the end of the weekend with the Chicago event, it goes till the 24th. So there's a good chance that once the Chicago event hits, something else will be coming.
Right.
So as long as they add more to it, I'm okay with it. This is the first bit of the anniversary celebration. They're waiting for that weekend event. That's cool. Otherwise, it's kind of a big letdown for the 1-year anniversary. And now they are also calling the gym reboot and the raid battle part of the 1-year celebration, which, okay, those are pretty cool and big additions. But I don't know. I was really excited on that day for something really cool to happen. And even just give me a free hat for logging in on that day. It could have been something really stupid. And it was something really stupid.
I want Ash Ketchum's hat.
Yeah.
I want my avatar to wear that hat. Yeah. Moving on to Overwatch. Doomfist was announced this week.
And it wasn't Terry Crews.
And it's not Terry Crews, but you know what? Sometimes
the voice actor, though, does sound very good.
Yes. Hopefully, maybe we'll get an Overwatch hero, not a Talon enemy of Terry Crews.
Yeah, maybe.
Voicing it. And what's the business with the Prime boxes?
So Amazon Prime Day is coming up, and they have decided, and I still don't know what you get for this, but Twitch Prime is a thing, and it's included in your Amazon Prime account. So if you go right now and you go to Amazon Prime's Twitch thing, you get a golden loot box for Overwatch, and it's a guaranteed one legendary item. And then
for free?
For free.
Okay.
You get a code for it. And then in July, you get 5 loot boxes, and in August, you get this is July. August and then September, you get 5 loot boxes each month. So basically, getting people to sign up for Amazon Prime. I have completed it, and I have a code. And yet, this wonderful famed loot box fix that's coming, has not been launched, and I don't want to open the box.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get a duplicate legendary item, and I don't really care.
Yeah.
And what Dave is talking about is they're have said that they're gonna try to fix the loot system.
Also, amazing new highlights. Did you watch that video, by the way?
No.
So Jeff Kaplan, the Overwatch team, but it's Jeff Kaplan talking. They post this video. Great new changes coming to loot boxes. It's about a 2-minute video. An hour and 40 minutes, a minute and 40 seconds of it were spent on their brand new system of how uploading and downloading highlights, which does look good. And then the last thing, and also we fixed loot boxes so that you don't get a bunch of duplicates anymore. I'm like, thanks.
Well,
Glad you guys care about that.
It's such a shame because doing events, you get so many just crappy duplicates.
Yeah. And we've gone through some big events this year that you can't go again.
And then they close out the event items, including the dance emote, because
that was weird. I would assume that even if those dance emotes don't come back, I'm sure that they'll bring dance emotes back.
Well, that's the thing.
There might be a Christmas dance emotes.
Is new characters don't get dance emotes then.
Right.
So, but we're still waiting for Doomfist to come out to consoles, but he looks like a lot of fun to play.
Oh yeah.
So I will.
And that animated thing, I would love an Overwatch animated series. That'd be amazing.
And I bet more of the shorts are going to be drawn like that instead of very expensive computer.
Although we've been promised a Diva thing for so long, over and over. The voice actor herself said coming this Friday, and that was like 4 weeks ago.
Really?
So yeah, there's nothing. She was at Overwatch. She said new Diva stuff coming up, and we thought, okay, we're gonna get Diva's backstory. Nope.
And when is BlizzCon?
BlizzCon is at it's either August or September, I think.
I could be this month. But then we also get Comic-Con coming up, San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, end of this month.
Which will hopefully, give a little bit of Overwatch stuff. I'm trying.
November. It's November. Oh, we're completely wrong.
Wow, really? It's that long?
November 3rd and 4th.
So we're not gonna get anything from BlizzCon.
Well, we'll get a new hero.
You think?
That'll be the third hero this year. There's
the
3
heroes a year.
Yeah. So.
Except Orissa's just garbage.
I love Orissa.
I hate Orissa.
Oh, Orissa's so cool. She's situational, but she's good.
Moving on, a couple weeks ago, John Oliver did a segment on his show, well, pretty much his main topic, about coal companies and how they're not really changing with the times. And
by those times, you mean like 1980. It's been a long time.
It's been the same thing for 50 years. But they attacked one company specifically, and I can't remember the name of the company off the top of my head. But when reached for comment, and they did this on the show, they showed the letter. When the company was reached for comment, they said, please do not say anything defamatory. Am I saying that correctly?
What? I'm sorry.
Defamatory, excuse me. Against the owner or the company, or they will press charges. And John Oliver flipped the double bird and decided to do it anyways because
Murray Energy.
Robert
E. Murray.
And John Oliver is now being sued by that company because of factual statements that was made on his TV show. So just wanted to bring that up because it's,
Well, the coolest thing about it is that, and I understand that it's different, but if you want to talk about how the difference between South Park doing something and how Comedy Central 100% did not back them, turned on them, censored their episode without their permission or knowledge, all that kind of stuff, how HBO is 100%, he's in the right and we're standing behind our content.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's just funny that John Oliver is pretty much, he's got free reign.
Yeah, he did do, by the way, I don't know did you watch the episode right after it?
No.
Oh, so he basically started the episode by saying, after a thing, we are being sued, and I would love to talk to you about it, but I'm being informed that we should settle this in the courtroom, not here. So he goes, but when it's all over, we will talk about it. And he brought the squirrel back.
Nice. But the thing is, I mean, I don't want to get off on a rant here, but why is he being sued for true statements?
Well, you can sue anybody for anything. I feel like it's not worth ranting about unless
he loses. Yeah.
If he loses, then I feel like
then there's a problem.
there's a big argument there because
it's Hulk
it's wrong.
Hogan. It's Hulk Hogan and Gawker, which I mean, Hulk Hogan lost, didn't he?
No, he won.
Oh, he did win that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That company is going down.
Yeah. I feel like it's them suing him to make a point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
And they've done
expecting
this
to win.
before. There's a he brought it up when they received their cease and desist letter when they were researching it. He brought it up that they went through their history of people that they've sued, and that's when he flipped the double bird. He says, "I expect to be sued," and then just went off on his thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
And our final trending topic: Google Glass is receiving updates again.
What is Google Glass? I don't remember that. Wasn't that from like 10 years ago? Remember when that was going to be the best new thing, and then it was $1,500 to get it, and you had to drive to Mountain View. You could not be shipped. Google had to give it to you in there.
I didn't know
Sorry.
that.
Yeah, you had to go to Mountain View, California, and go to the Googleplex, and they would give you one.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was because it wasn't really released. It never still has been released as a consumer product.
No,
really.
it was all beta testing.
Yeah, and you got entered into a lottery, and part of the lottery was they wouldn't ship it to you because it had to have been something, and you had to do a certain amount of things with it too.
So I'm assuming it was too fragile.
I don't know if it was too fragile or if they wanted to control that process 100% because that was it still is a very high end piece of technology, so they don't want.
And
any of that out.
it was just it was just like a frame, right?
It was a frame, and then there's a little piece of glass that goes over your right eye.
Over just one eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in like a movie or TV show, or like I saw a couple of them in like those like product placement. But
I was at a bar and I saw somebody
Really?
with it.
Really?
Yeah. And it was down here too. And I'm
man.
like, did you just drop like $2,500, $1,500 for the glasses and
You gotta be
another
there,
Huh?
and you gotta go there, and then,
Yeah, and then
it's expensive.
another 500
just
for
to
the
look
flight.
cool, like you can't actually do anything with it, but you might look cool.
But it's receiving updates again, so maybe they're trying to revive it.
I mean,
Like Google Wave.
I had always saw Google Glass what they've presented us because they gave you a concept video,
Yeah.
which of course was not what this thing is because the technology hasn't been there. I had always thought of just like how Gmail has been in beta for 30 years now.
Yeah.
That this is going to be a product that what we're looking at is not what they intend to bring to market. What they're bringing out right now is an idea, and the only reason that it's receiving such a wide release is because they want to know those implications as well. Like, it would just be a normal in-house thing that they'd be working on until they got the technology, but they wanted it to get people's hands so that the social questions would be answered, the legal questions would be answered, all these kind of stuff as they push forward. I still see a full glasses thing coming.
Yeah.
I just think that's a technology limitation right now.
For you listeners of the Wampaslayer Podcast, we're offering you a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. All you have to do is go to audibletrial.com/Wampaslayer. Right now, I'm actually listening to the Bill Nye book, narrated by Bill Nye.
Did you ever see Dr. Katz?
No.
Nate, did you ever watch Dr. Katz? So it was an old cartoon. It was like in the 90s. And the Family Guy parodied it. And the guy he's sitting there on the couch. And Peter turns to him.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
the animation's all bad. They've brought it back as an Audible exclusive.
Ooh.
So if you join using audibletrial.com/Wampaslayer, you get to listen to their new episodes of that.
I do remember that show. I
You never watched it, but I remember of the show.
was going to say, I was too young to understand it.
Yeah, that has come back.
I do love though when authors narrate their own books.
Yes.
Like
And the
David
Bill Nye
Sedaris
one is
does
so good.
that, and yeah, Bill Nye would be great because I mean that's just a whole new experience because it's their stuff and usually telling about their lives or their ideas. And it's great to hear out of their voices. So.
Bill Nye does the voices for all the scientists he's quoting.
Really, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good book.
I also like comedians' books. Like,
The David Sedaris. is.
yeah.
David Cross's book. The audiobook for that is so amazing.
And you can check any of these books out or another 180,000 titles to choose from. audibletrial.com/Wampaslayer. Spoiler alert. We're going to talk about Spider-Man for a little bit. Spider-Man Homecoming. We're going to spend about 10 minutes of it. Thank you guys for listening if you haven't seen Spider-Man, but I'm going to tell you to turn it off right now.
Yes.
Stop. Okay. So Spider-Man Homecoming came out this weekend.
Yep.
We all saw it at different times. Well, you two saw it together. I saw it on Saturday morning for $5. Matinee
Nice.
special.
Nice. We struggled to get a seat.
Yeah,
looking through a bunch of theaters, and
Yeah.
I went. So
we also bought them the day of. Like, it's not.
we were not as prepared as we
No,
usually
not
are.
at all.
luckily, there's 3 theaters, just in this
Okay,
area.
Oh yeah.
I went to one, and it 10:30 a.m. showing, completely sold out.
Jeez.
So I went to another theater, and it was still pretty full.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man: Homecoming came out, and Dave has some thoughts.
No, don't go to Dave's thoughts right away.
I really liked it.
I mean, Dave's thoughts make for some good argument, but you don't need to go to Dave's thoughts.
I really liked it. I mean, it was very funny and
Very
it-
teen
that-
angsty.
that fit. Yeah, it was teen angsty, but not Spider-Man 3 teen angsty. It
That was not teen angst. That was something.
That was I mean,
serial killer weirdness.
hey, they said Venom. They said Venom in the movie.
Did they?
Yeah.
I missed
Well,
that.
okay, hang on. I marked out a little bit because his friend Ned is like, do you shoot Venom?
Oh.
And
I do. Yeah, I like that they kept him a teenager though. They didn't mess with that. I mean, he was a kid.
Although when they did say, he goes, "You're a 14-year-old kid," he goes, 15. I went, no, make him a little bit older because he's only 20, but still, he should have been 16 at least.
I
Well,
agree.
I think the point was he was. I think a lot of the reason for his age was to make him dating a senior,
Yeah.
like or
It just
being
that
nervous around her
line.
and stuff.
I remember that line throwing me off so much. I'm
Yeah.
going, 14. Don't give me that nonsense. But
I agree with that,
um,
and also why he couldn't drive a car
that's
because he had
true.
to be under driving age.
I did not think of that.
yeah.
that was actually pretty funny.
I
too.
would have.
But
I would
he's
have
in
caught
New
that as
York.
more of that's what I would have caught that more as.
Yeah.
Nobody drives
a
in
kid
New
in
York.
New York.
True.
Well, everybody drives in New York, and so nobody drives. I had some issues with the characters, not the characters themselves, but or the actors themselves. But Flash is supposed to be this super jock and
Yeah.
real cool, and no, that's not the Flash in this movie.
Yeah. Why was he on
He was on the
nerd debate team or whatever?
Yeah.
or the
Well, because
quiz
it was
bowl.
this high-end science school, and for him to have been there, obviously it doesn't look like there was an athletic team at that school.
Well,
True.
no, I thought Martin Starr mentions that
What?
we got to put this trophy in the case, maybe next to the football and.
Oh, okay, maybe. Yeah, but it didn't make me feel. It made me felt like that was a high school that was specifically. I mean, it was, but was specifically for genius level or high technically minded.
I don't like
people.
that.
Well, and I feel like if
Spider-Man is Spider-Man, all right?
if that's the twist that they're gonna make it, then Flash should have been the smartest one on that
Yeah.
team.
Should have been a
But
rival for him.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was the alternate who, like, they specifically said, yeah, you didn't answer a single question. If he was going to be that douchey about everything, he should have had the skills to back it up. And he didn't. He was just a jerk.
He was just there for jokes.
Yeah.
All right, now can I go to you, Dave?
All right.
Do you want to talk about MJ first? Since we're talking about
We should talk
my
about MJ. So, I mean, I wish that I had it queued up, but we can talk about how on this show we talked with Jason about how if they made Zendaya James, because by the way, the twist that they did betrayed what they released on their statements of who she was.
Yes.
But we said, we had some arguments about, should she have red hair and all this kind of stuff,
Yes.
but it didn't matter who she was if you want to reinvent a character, but just don't drop it in like it's nothing. What is it exactly they do?
Yeah. Just last couple seconds of the movie, people call me MJ.
Yeah.
Or call me MJ.
Which, by the way, she was in the movie for no reason but to make jokes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
I
entire
kept-
movie.
And I kept expecting her to do something. Like when his buddy shoots the web and saves him from Shocker, I thought that was going to be her. I felt like the whole movie she acted like she was catching on to him, and I thought she was going to show up and figure out who he was. But then, yeah, they even make a joke of it at the end. She's like, "Oh, are you up to something?" Oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
And like,
So if you're aiming for my thought was that it was a passable movie, but passable movie, and I mean it was a little bit better than that, but sensationalism. But so we talked about this though, and I don't think you were here that day. They released her name was Michelle Toombs. She was the Vulture's daughter in all of the Sony stuff that came out before the movie came out, and then the movie came out, and all of a sudden Liz is Toomes' dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about this before the show, that it very much felt like two studios were fighting over this movie in the middle of it, because there were parts that felt like classic MCU. There were parts that went off the rails weirdly. And it felt like there were two different creative directions. There was enough that it made you feel like he's going to be around for the Avengers in the future, and he has to hang out with Tony Stark, but we're making it very clear that he's on his own path and he's not part of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I could feel that struggle throughout the movie, that it felt like this character was being used in two separate things.
Well, that's the thing, is in the comics, Spider-Man is not an Avenger.
No, he's worked with the Avengers,
He works
but
with
yeah.
the Avengers, but he's not an Avenger
Exactly.
because he is a street level hero. You know,
Right.
he's his own thing.
And and they do say, I mean, very pointedly say he's a street level hero more than once in the movie. They make that a point.
And that is the point, is that he is, well, first of all, he's a brand new superhero, you know.
Yeah.
Luckily, we didn't get the origin story.
No.
We didn't get
By the way, best way to explain the origin of Spider-Man. So wait, you got bit by a spider? Yeah. Can I get bit by the spider? No, it's dead now. Okay. That's
Yep.
it. That's it.
Yep.
Thank
I
you.
did appreciate that very much, because that is the one thing that killed me about the Batman and Superman movies, is that they had to rehash Batman's.
See, I didn't mind that.
I
because
know
they,
you didn't,
They did
but-
it beautifully. Like, oh my god, that slow-mo and all that kind of stuff. But then
Wait, are we talking about Batman or Superman?
Batman versus Superman?
Batman versus Superman.
In the beginning, how they showed
rehash
Batman's...
Batman.
Oh, yeah.
When they've done it a million times.
And then when he flew up out of the thing.
And then he flew.
That's where I took a turn for me.
I was going to say, because Batman Begins, that's pretty much the only time that you get a Batman origin story in film.
Well, and that's
the
fine.
Batman with Michael Keaton.
Well,
Yeah.
no, Jack Nicholson shoots his parents, and okay, now he's Batman.
Yeah.
Allegedly. It doesn't really seem that way until the very end when he says that.
But Batman Begins, it made sense.
yeah. Well, obviously, that
Uh,
was literally his
yeah.
origin.
Yeah.
The whole movie is
And
an origin story.
that was kind of at the beginning. Like, yeah, we had those original Batmans, but it had been quite a few years since the Michael Keaton, where we've had so many Spider-Man's movies recently, we didn't need to know his origin story again.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was good. When I criticize the movie, there's two things that were wrong with it. Number one is I was expecting something very different, and it didn't happen. Now that's my fault, and I can't blame the studio for it. I think that they could have done a lot better with the way they framed the story, but they did whatever they did. My other spot though was that it just felt like a bunch of stuff. Number one, it was very clear that they were making a comedy. This was purely supposed to be a comedy.
Yes.
Because every word out of every character's joke or mouth, other than the car scene with him and Michael Keaton, which I did not like that he stayed silent the entire time.
No?
I mean, I thought it was...
He's
it was-
15 years old.
Staying silent's fine. I'm sorry. I didn't like the look on his face. The look on his face did not feel like terror moving into anger. Like, that's what he should have been. He should have started off, like, peeing his pants up to the point where I'm going to get this guy. And I didn't feel that. I didn't think that Tony Stark needed to be in the movie at all. If his plot did not mesh with the movie, I didn't think he needed to be there. I thought Happy could have handled that whole thing. Zendaya being a random person, Liz being a throwaway character.
Donald Glover.
That never. Oh my gosh, we didn't talk about Donald Glover being in 3 seconds of this movie.
3 seconds.
I don't think that he gave him. The Jennifer Connelly gave him a name, but he never said his name.
No.
So I don't remember what his name was.
Yeah, I don't
She
know.
identified him in the suit. That was a big throwaway.
It's not Miles Morales.
No,
That's
it was some.
unless they.
Of course, they could have just say, "My friends call me Miles," and okay, you're Miles Morales.
Yeah.
The MJ. It just felt like so many things. Like they had a really good 2/3 of the movie structured out. It's Fantastic Four. It had a really good start, and then something happens, and the entire thing just gets thrown off.
don't.
I'm not saying that it's as bad, and I'm not saying that it was bad. I enjoyed a lot of it. It's just there were a lot of problems, and I think this deep into superhero movies, the 6th Spider-Man movie, they could have done much, much better.
The part that kind of threw me, and I mean, I guess you could argue that he grew up or he whatever. He wants to be an Avenger so bad the whole movie, and he gets offered the chance at the end. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me why he chose not to. I mean, I know he says, no, I'm going to stick to the streets. Like, I know that's supposed to be he grew up and realized he has some learning to do, but he's basically being offered a chance to still learn, be part of the new Avengers, and train with them when they spend a whole movie building up how much he wants to be an Avenger. It kind of that's where it felt more like
Well,
all right, it's a Marvel movie until that point when Sony said, nope, sorry.
well, they had to set up the Pepper Potts joke.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what every moment in that movie was to set up the next joke.
Yeah.
Which is fine if you wanted to make it a comedy. If you wanted to make this Guardians of the Galaxy 2, you could have done it. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I think, did it much better than this movie
Yeah.
did.
Well, yeah, it's James
Ant-Man
Gunn.
did too. I feel like Ant-Man was a comedy action.
Yeah. Which even that Ant-Man, I think, was the better of the, I'll say, 3 Iron Man movies, which is Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Ant-Man. We're all kind of the same movie.
Yeah.
I think that Ant-Man is the second in those 3. But even that was kind of like formulaic, but at least it followed the formula to the T.
Yeah.
If this had the same thing, it felt like in every moment there was a pull.
Yeah.
So,
We want Zendaya to be in there. We want her to have this thing. Well, no, we don't. We want her to be MJ.
Yeah.
So let's pull that edit out.
just put in a Mary Jane because her name is Michelle.
Yeah.
Zendaya's name is Michelle. But I did like. Well, I didn't like. I actually hated it.
All right.
That so during the credits, you hit Tom Holland, you hit Zendaya, and you hit Jon Favreau, and then you go into the cameos. You know, Gwyneth Paltrow is second listed.
Yeah, they must have paid. She must have. That was an agent deal for sure. Yeah. Which, by the way, we talked about this. Why is she in the movie?
Gwyneth Paltrow?
Why are they going to get married at the end?
The only purpose is to bring her back into the MCU because she was kind of cut out.
Well,
if they want to bring her in and make her significant in Infinity War, they had to bring her back somehow so that in Infinity War it wasn't her just randomly showing up. And hey, this at least allows them in Infinity War, like if she gets kidnapped or is in peril, now they've already established that her and Tony are back together, and it's a reason for Tony to be really upset if something happens.
Or there's a scene in Infinity War where Tony Stark dies and she's all crying and stuff.
Yeah,
and but
it's a reason for that to reconnect the two of them.
But see, I think that Iron Man's story, since after, so we talked about this on Wednesday on Trailer Park, on what Iron Man 3 could have been. Iron Man's story post-Avengers has been so good on the character that they're trying to develop. Now, they've misstepped. Iron Man 3 wasn't very good. Age of Ultron was okay, but it had a lot of problems. But it's focused on how he's just a guy. Even though Hawkeye and Black Widow are just people, they're also agents who have worked in militaries and all this kind of...
Yeah.
He's just a guy in a suit, and he doesn't want to be anymore. And he doesn't understand, but every time a threat is too big that he can't ignore, and he's stuck doing it. Like he's in Civil War, it feels like almost he's upset that he even has to put the suit on, and that's something I loved. All of a sudden, we kick to Spider-Man, where he's just knowing Tony Stark again, and but yeah, Pepper's back. And the whole thing in Civil War, how he lost Pepper. He tells Captain America, "It's my fault, and I've lost her." Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, yeah, she's been there the whole time. And also, the ring thing was funny, but.
Just setting up a joke.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I say go see it.
I mean, go see it for sure. I mean, it was still a funny movie.
It's an MCU.
It was a great Spider-Man movie. I would put it. Let's see. Let's rank them. So
I'd put it above both Amazing Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
Above 3.
Yeah, I'd say 1, 2, or 2, 1.
Yeah, there you go. 2, 1, this, and then Amazing Spider-Man.
I will say Captain America cameos in that movie
Oh my goodness.
were maybe the best parts of the movie. They were just because every time they just had something going on at the school, there was a Captain America
This guy might be a war criminal now,
video.
but whatever.
Yeah.
And that after credit scene was so good.
Yep.
It was just. I mean, they roasted the audience so well.
Yeah. Stay
and
for both after credit scenes.
There's 2.
Because there are 2, and the last one. That we won't spoil because it's too funny to spoil, but stay for it.
That when Chris Evans looks off camera all the time, so good.
And that was
How many more of these got to do?
that was the thing. So you guys saw it the day before I did, and Nate, you came home and you were like, okay, there's one plot after credit scene, and there's one funny after credit scene. And first of all, the plot one, I don't know anything like how that sets up anything unless they're setting up Sinister Six,
which they want to. Which, by the way, we didn't even talk about Michael Keaton's.
Oh, Michael Keaton was so good.
Michael Keaton was very good. I thought that the character was great. Part of my problem with the Vulture was an expectations problem. I thought there was a different story that was going to happen, and it didn't. Which again, is not their fault.
Yeah,
but it could have been better my way.
But I'll give Dave a call.
Yeah, but I'll recognize that that's a douchey thing to say. But it was number one, and I've read this from a lot of people who have said that John Watts is not very good at directing superhero action, which I will agree with. When it got into the nitty gritty of him fighting stuff, when it wasn't a visual effects thing and it was more about fighting, it was real messy. Mm-hmm. That strobe light fight on the plane was nonsense. I had to close my eyes a couple times because I could not tell what was happening. And then in the end, he didn't really stop Vulture. Vulture's suit blew up. And he tried to save him, which may set up this idea that he's not revealing because I hate the kid, but he did save my life.
And his daughter's life.
And his daughter's life. So I get that.
That was actually one of my favorite things back in the car.
He was so good, and I felt like that if Vulture doesn't continue, you have wasted Michael Keaton.
Yes.
Because he did not reach the potential he could have in this movie.
And he
was set up for it.
As we've seen just from Iron Man on and there's a
cat
cat
just jumped on my lap, and you had to use his claws to get up here.
As we've seen in the MCU, you're locked into a character. Chris Evans was not in the MCU. He was in Fox's Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
and then got put in. Michael B. Jordan was in Fantastic Four, and is now in Black Panther, and. So you see other X-Men actors, but they're playing that character.
Yeah.
And Michael Keaton will not be anybody other than Vulture. But it looks like they're going to keep Vulture.
As long as he's a villain. I mean, he was a great villain. He is a great villain, and I think that he's really good as long as you keep him, because that was not. And MCU movies tend to be about the villain is just there to provide a wrench in the hero's learning.
Yeah.
Those are not. It's not like DC where a lot of times the movies are more about the villain than they are about thing. Mm-hmm. Now Venom, of course, will be different and stuff like that. But even then, they'll make him an anti-hero.
Yeah.
So
he's got to save the world against Carnage, right?
Yeah. So I mean, if you're just gonna say, yeah, he was there, Spider-Man defeated him, move on to the next thing, that's a terrible waste for Michael Keaton.
And I feel like, unlike a lot of other Marvel villains, he had more of a reason. He had good. It seemed like a regular guy. This could actually have happened to a regular guy. He was not just some evil entity bent on power and destruction. He lost a way to support his family, found another way to support his family, and just wasn't going to let somebody take that away from him. It kind of reminded me more of like Sandman in Spider-Man 3.
See,
where
he's
not necessarily a bad person.
Yeah.
He just got pushed into a corner and did what he had to do.
Yeah, which I think they did not sell very well in this movie.
But
that was my big problem.
This could be the Marvel's deal with Spider-Man is we take Spider-Man, you can take all the villains.
Yeah. Like I said, really the movie boiled down to me as a great Spider-Man movie, a very funny movie, but a movie that felt like it was number one, did not reach its potential, and it felt like it was being pulled in so many directions.
I liked the double villain. Shocker.
Oh yeah.
But they didn't do what double villain movies do with I'm equal or we're equal, but now wait, you can't have more power than me.
You mean the Amazing Spider-Man 2 did not do those 8 million villains they threw in there well?
All right, that's going to do it for us. No nerd question this week.
True. I do want to throw in two things, two events that Wampaslayer is going to be at the next week. This Sunday at Easter Market, Shed 5, is the first Detroit Festival of Books from 10 to 4. I plan on being there. I know at least one Wampa wife and maybe some other Wampaslayers will be there in our shirts. So if you see us, come say hi.
Hopefully in our shirts.
I'll wear at least the old shirt.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, we order new shirts, which also means you can buy them for $10.
$10.
And then next Thursday at Michigan Science Center from 6 to 9, $15. Video game adults only After Dark party. We'll be there as well.
Follow Dave on Twitter at the Alien512. Don't follow Nate. Follow me on Twitter at AceRight4. Follow all of us on Twitter at Wampa Media. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Wampaslayer. Thank you for listening. Watch us on Facebook Live, Sunday Night State.